you can learn a lot of things online. You can learn, hey, how to find a SQL injection, right? But then there are things that comes from you having a hacker's mindset, right? So we have built that team who comes from that hacker's background, who understand the customer's business, who understand the customer's real challenge. So they just don't look at an application like, hey, okay, this is it is communicating through API and probably.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the GB show. Today we are going to talk about the most asked question to me, that everyone is talking about: ethical hacking, red teaming, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing. What this is all about? What is offensive security all about? Why organizations need to have it as a continuous process, and why they are just doing it still once in a year, right? So is it an audit requirement, or is it required by the organizations to do it regularly to find more and more vulnerabilities and strengthen their security posture? Or is only the defense system is enough to do it? How we can do the automation in offensive security, how organization can scale up their offensive security processes, what skills and expertise requires in there. To have a discussion in all these topics, I have with me Anurag Giri. He is Chief Business Officer with VSecureApp. Having around 10 years of experience in offensive security and GRC systems, he has helped many businesses, CISOs, and organizations out there to strengthen their offensive security posture. Let's hear him out. Hey, hi Anurag, welcome to the GB show.
Hi Gaurav, pleasure to be here.
Okay, great to know about you, having around amazing experience in offensive security and GRC, and I think 10 plus years, right?
Yeah, almost, yes.
How the industry has been treating you so far?
So far so good, nothing to complain as such. I mean, 10 years has been like a, I wouldn't say roller coaster, but yeah, it has been a great learning, to be honest. Right before my college itself, right? So I come from Banaras, Varanasi.
Okay.
City of Ghats.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I was not a very good student as such, but I was very inquisitive student. So after my schooling, people go for IITs and all those things. They try for triple IT, IITs and all, right? I knew that I'm not going to crack it, so I never even tried. But then luckily, I was, as I mentioned, I was a very inquisitive kid, and then there was a guy I was very, impressed by him because he was into security and he used to do a lot of hacking. So, and then from there, I guess, I started learning about computers, and I was fascinated by it. So, right before getting into my engineering college, I have completed almost 3-4 languages, computer languages myself, without any action, just from the books, to be honest. Yeah. And then once I was there, I was lucky to get a friend like Akhil, who is CTO and co-founder, and then we both did a lot of self-learning together, a lot of hacks together.
Okay.
And you know how it starts, right? You start with hacking Pakistani websites, and then from there you start your journey. And then I think wahan se I got to know about what is bug bounty. Okay, you can do these things in ethical way, and people pay you for it. And then in my college, I think second year or third year, we started doing bug bounties, and then. And again, right now there are a lot of things available online that people can actually refer to, learn about, about hacking, about testing and all. But at that point in time, I think there were very few people, not a lot of resources were available online. So you had to do a lot of self-learning. And I always believed in self-learning, and that's how I learned. I think almost all the internet giants, if you take a name like Facebook, Microsoft, Google and all, I identified vulnerabilities there. and that sort of built our confidence as well. And then once we got out of college, right, we thought like we should do something in this
Okay.
field, and that's where we started this journey. So and we were lucky enough to get a great CEO. So the combination of tech and the business was there. So, and yeah, I think 2015, as I mentioned earlier, I was talking to you, right? In 2015, we kind of started unofficially, and then officially we started in 2016. And one of the first US customer we landed, and from there the journey, took off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how you thought, like, being a tech guy, that I will be the CBO of the company?
Right. So that's an interesting journey actually. So when you I was a tech guy, right? I used to do a lot of hacking, and then you also get a chance to interact with a lot of CISOs, CIOs from the industry, and then you work very closely with them to curate cybersecurity strategies. And I was kind of liking it a lot, that you get a different a problem statement every time, and then you kind of you help them in coming up with different strategies and all. Then I think when I was getting more I mean, customers were loving me, to be honest. They liked how I try to understand their problems. I'm not trying to sell anything to them. And then it was eventually helping our revenue stream, right, to grow. And then I think so slowly I was into this business side as well. I don't like to sell. I just love to meet CISOs, CIOs, and try to understand their problem and help them wherever I can. So and that's how I
if you're solving the problem, the revenues and the things will automatically come to you. And of course, I think that should be the first criteria of being a CBO, where you should be solving the problem instead of not selling. But anyways, great to know about your journey and the current role you are doing. But for my audience to start with, when we go into the cybersecurity word, so there are many buzzwords, like people talk about penetration testing, vulnerability assessment, then red teaming, blue teaming, then there's something called as offensive security, right? A lot of different words. But as we have dedicated this episode on offensive security, I will like you to define this word for me and for my audience.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, offensive security is a proactive approach to identify vulnerabilities in your infrastructure applications. And you must have heard about these, as you mentioned, red teaming, threat simulation, assume breach. All these kind of activity comes under offensive security, where you just attack and try to, act as a simulate real world attack. Like if a hacker is trying to target your organization, he's not going to stop at one place. He just keep on doing it. So that's what we do. So you test your defenses, you test the effectiveness of your security controls. So that comes under offensive security.
Okay, and if I have a follow-up question, because I know whenever we heard like VSecureApp, it's all about offensive security. What do you do exactly, and how you differentiate from the other organization or the people who are doing the same thing?
Right. So I mean, VSecureApp is a offensive security solution organization. And we provide a lot of offensive security solutions in application security, network security, cloud security, and especially in threat simulation, where we do red teaming, assume breach, your dark web monitoring, social engineering and stuff. And I think in last 7-8 years, I mean, it has been a great journey for VSecureApp and for us as well. We are almost serving 300 plus global customers, active customers.
Okay.
And they are from different verticals. They are from pharma industries, fintech, BFSI, e-commerce. It's almost every vertical we have touched upon. And then they have their unique challenges. They have their unique infrastructure, different kinds of control they have implemented. So it's fun. So what makes us different, when it comes to offensive security, is that the team that we have built, right? So you can learn a lot of things online. You can learn, hey, how to find a SQL injection, right? But then there are things that comes from you having a hacker's mindset, right? So we have built that team who comes from that hacker's background, who understand the customer's business, who understand the customer's real challenge. So they just don't look at an application like, hey, okay, this is it is communicating through API and probably these many test cases or vulnerabilities it can have. We'll look from why this functionality is there, right? And then how it is going to help the organization, or if we try to play around with this functionality, how that can have an impact on the business. So that we have cultivated in our entire team. So be it from any background, when we hire a person, they go through a proper training, and our hiring process is like that we try to understand whether he has that thought process, he has that mindset or not. So, and then the customers we have worked with, so they have also worked with many customers, many vendors, security vendors, but the kind of vulnerability that we report, right, they're like, okay, we were not aware that this kind of issue can also be there, and it's impacting us. So
fair enough, amazing, and good to know about what VSecureApp do. And but when we talk about offensive security, right? So there is a misconception in the market that it's a one-time activity, and it's really hard to scale it. Right. So how you're doing it, and maybe you can shed some light on this.
Right,
is it really?
right. I mean, absolutely. So it's like, yes, I mean, people fall into this trap. They think that so there are majorly two misconceptions. One is that customers invest a lot in defensive tools, and in terms of implementing XDR, MDRs, EDRs, and stuff. And the problem is that it runs on a default configurations. When you go check the tools, right? It's when you buy a tool, it comes with default configurations, and then when an attacker try to attack, right, it barely sees probably 5 attacks or basic techniques it can hold, but then you have to configure it well, right? So people have this mindset, they have this misconception that defensive tools are silver bullets, and it can prevent any attacks, but that's rubbish. That's absolutely not true. Given enough time, any defenses can be bypassed. So you have to do offensive security on a continuous basis to keep checking your effectiveness of your security tools. And as you mentioned, people believe that it's a one-time activity, or when the regulatory demands, right, then they get the security assessments, offensive security things done, right? But you should, as I mentioned, I mean, you have to check your effectiveness, and you have to check your effectiveness all the time, right? So you have to scale it up. And of course, scaling up is, again, people think that it's it's a task, but you can scale it up if you have the right mindset, you have the right approach, tools, automation in place, you can scale it up.
Okay, fair enough. I think offensive security, I know it should not be one time, but why you think it's essential that people should keep on doing it again and again, and it should be a recurring process?
Right. So Gaurav, let me give you an example here. You must have used Windows operating system, right? So sometimes it happens that you open your laptop and it's going into update mode, right? And then you have to wait and then open it. So what it's actually doing, it's upgrading itself. By upgrading means it's upgrading its configuration or changing some piece of code so that it can enable itself to prevent certain attacks, new attacks, modern threats, right? Similarly, when you buy or purchase a new tool, it comes with default configurations. Probably that defense is applicable today. Tomorrow you will again have to test it. So do you think that configuration is good enough? No, right? You will have to test. Firstly you need to know what is out there, what are the new techniques, new bypasses are there, whether that bypass is applicable for my defenses or not. And how will you know that? Unless you do it on a regular basis, right? Unless you do offensive security on a regular basis, you will not know what are the new techniques that can bypass my defenses, and eventually that will lead to a breach. And the sad part is, a lot of organizations do not do it on a regular basis, and they only get to know about this when they are breached. So
okay, and as you mentioned rightly, there are new techniques and new threats coming in. Like an example you will like to share that recently, which is
Yeah.
totally new, and now you are asking everyone to do it again and check it out.
Right. So, I'll give you a recent example. I had an opportunity to look at one of the enterprise organizations, Sentinel-1 setup. And to my surprise, it was running on default configurations. And when I say default configurations, techniques like, pass the hashes or mimikatz, these kind of basic technique, it was not able to, stop it or detect it. And then again, so that is like, when it's not able to detect, basic techniques. And so the thing is, it's not Sentinel-1's fault, right? The fault is of its configuration. You have to configure it rightly so that it can protect the whole things, right?
Okay. Fair enough. And now we know that organization need to scale up their game for offensive security. To as per the growing market need. What kind of advice you have for those organizations? How they can do so?
So there are different approaches available through which one can achieve offensive security on a continuous basis and can scale it up. The automation is one of them. Companies who are DevOps first, right? They should start with implementing security scanners, integrate scanners in their development lifecycle. And and I believe you should automate wherever it is possible, right? So when you're going to implement a offensive security strategy to scale it up, firstly you need to understand what is your maturity level looks like today. Okay, and then I believe you should ask certain questions to yourself, and then accordingly you can plan it. Like you should firstly understand, have you done any kind of attack surface scan? Do you know what is publicly exposed, right? Do you have a up-to-date asset inventory list in place? Do you conduct vulnerability scans? If yes, how frequently you do it, right? Do you do penetration tests on a regular basis? And what kind of penetration test it is, black box or a gray box or black box, gray box, and whether it is a recurring practice, right? And then for DevOps, obviously, whether you are using SAST, SCA scans or a secret scans or not. And if you're not doing this, I think you should prioritize them first, right? And so once you have answered these questions, right, you will get a visibility into where are you today. And then accordingly you can start implementing them. So I think this is the essential thing that we should ask ourselves first, and then start moving into the direction of automation, where you can automate these lot of things instead of overloading your security team with lot of assessments and manual work.
Okay, and you mentioned the right thing about that automation, right? So how the automation can be implemented with the offensive security space? Maybe some examples will be helpful here.
Right, right. So as I mentioned, like in any enterprise organization, right, IT goes through a lot of changes every day, right? Today probably they have 100 assets. Just to give you an example, and they have thousands and thousands of assets. So probably in a one setup they have 100 assets, and you are scanning and testing it. Probably tomorrow again it will have 120 assets, and people are decommissioning servers, spawning a new servers every day. It is happening. So when you set up a regular scan, so to give an example how you can use automation, one is that instead of manually testing these servers, these assets, you should start using scanners to scan for basic vulnerability scans. You do port scanning. So today, for example, if you did a port scanning and you identified on one of the server there is 2 ports open, right? And then you are doing it on a regular basis. On day 5, you get to know, hey, there is a 3rd port open, right? So immediately the trigger should happen that you should go for a vulnerability scan, right? So these small tasks you can automate it so that it will help you in getting to know your attack surface, and also protect your critical infrastructure in terms of how you can continuously run these scans. And similarly for DevOps as well, right? As I mentioned, you should invest in SaaS tools, SCA, secret scans. These are very essential part of it, so that you can ensure that any piece of code that is new, that is being written in your organization, before it goes to the production, right, it is being tested thoroughly.
Okay, great example and great point, I think, Anurag. So, for any organization, what are the skills and expertise required to scale these kind of things? Maybe automation is not easy, right?
Right. So see, I mean, this is a huge challenge in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
You have to build a right cybersecurity team. It's a great challenge. But again, the team that you have today, you have to invest a lot in terms of their development, their training, so that they can learn new techniques, new bypasses. So similarly, I mean, in our organization, we have a R&D team. Their job is to work on new bypasses, techniques, train their internal teams. Then we push our employees to sort of participate in bug bounties, participate in CTFs, do a lot of collaboration with people, and that's where you learn these things. So organizations should dedicate time and money for their employees training. So one is obviously from a awareness perspective for the other employees, but especially for cybersecurity, you should train them on new techniques. Probably they have done one certification and they have certain knowledge, but that knowledge will not be enough after 1 year. So they have to constantly grow.
Yeah.
And if they don't grow, your organization don't grow, right? So you have to take that step to train them, push them to kind of learn new things. And the other thing is, or you can rely on a third party companies like us, who invest a lot in trainings and the skills of the people, and where your team can also learn, because these companies comes with their own methodology approach, and with collaboration you will learn a lot.
Sure, fair enough. And that was my follow-up question to you, like how VSecureApp is doing this, how you are actually making sure that your team is up to date, what all different methods you follow, and also with that, any case studies of your work or something, any success stories you like to share with us.
Right.
Overall.
So, I mean, in terms of so the team today we have built, right? We have a team mixed of. So I think today we have 100 plus security professionals, and they all come from different background. So when I say different background, some come from bug bounty, some are great bug bounty hunters. Some come from a research-driven mindset, who eventually has built our research and development team. There are certified professionals, and then we also every year invest in training internship program, where we identify people from the market, and take a 3 months to 5 months of time and train them on how these firstly to train them to develop this hackers mindset, how you think it through, and whenever you are approaching a new infrastructure or application. And then eventually the team internally, when as I mentioned, I mean, we will go through our team go through a lot of trainings, and then the team, the research team that we have set up, they constantly work on new things. They do participate in bug bounties whenever they are free, and they have this culture, right? They host a bug bounty dinner kind of stuff, where they call their colleagues on weekend, they sit there, and then they do hacking together. So that collaboration leads them to a greater stuff. They learn from each other. So that kind of culture you have to build, that kind of the mindset you have to build. So this is how I would say our team has been kind of staying ahead of threats, understanding new things that is happening in the industry. Whatever new techniques, bypasses that are coming up, they are immediately picking it up and start working. So what we do is, when we work with customers, right, immediately, so in many organizations, what I think what vendors do is they got a contract, a PO, they execute it, and it's done, right? But as a cybersecurity company, it's our responsibility that even after 5 months, 6 months of our contract is over, you knew that what was the infrastructure there, right? Something new came up, and you know they are vulnerable now. But then it's your responsibility to inform them, right? So we do it, regular newsletters we send them. If we know personally that, hey, we know that your infrastructure is vulnerable to this attack, we immediately send them a advisory that, hey, you have to fix this. So that kind of responsibility we take, and that's how eventually, our customers, I think more than 90% is our recurring customers. So it has been a great journey in terms of this.
Okay, awesome, Anurag. I think it was great talking to you, and I have got a great insights. And now I know the importance of offensive security and why all organizations need to do it not only once but multiple times in the year, and they need to have a continuous practice of doing offensive security. Amazing insights. I think my audience must have loved this. So last segment I have in my show where I will ask you to talk to my audience directly. So here the point is like. If anyone who is into the offensive security, want to learn or want to have the best practices, what advice you have for them? And also, if anyone wants to connect you directly or VSecureApp, how they can do, where all you are reachable. So my audience is all yours.
Right. So, couple of things I would suggest as I was talking through in the talk also, right? One is, if you think you have built a great defense system, you should attack your infrastructure. The more you attack, the more ways you will identify probably the defenses you have built today. It is not applicable tomorrow or after 1 year or after 2 years. That given enough time, anything can be bypassed. So keep on attacking, keep on improving your defense system, and we are specialized in that. You require a third party help in attacking your infrastructure. That's where we come in. You can reach out to us through our website VSecureApp.com. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn, and you can personally ping me on my LinkedIn profile. And we have been working with a lot of customers who has built a complex infrastructure and a great defenses, and we have bypassed them and showed them how they can improve their defenses. So
sure, thanks Anurag, and I will ask you to please do check it out, and I'll see you in next episode same time. But before that, Anurag, thank you for being here, and I have a gift for you. A hamper small. Thank you for joining in, and it was great.
I came for this only.
Sure, I know that. Okay guys, take care, be safe. Bye.
Bye.